It's Friday, February 9. In the headlines, 499 candidates nominated for local government election. In business news, BOJ governor anticipates inflation to exceed 4 to 6% target. Regionally, Tobago oil spill escalates to Tier 2 disaster. And in sports, Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce set to retire after the Olympics. This is the weekend news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone. The Electoral Commission of Jamaica says 499 candidates were nominated on February 8 to contest the local government elections scheduled for February 26. This number includes 496 candidates vying for seats in the 228 electoral divisions island-wide, and 3 candidates for the seat of mayor in the municipality of Portmore. Both major political parties, the Jamaica Labour Party, JLP, and the People's National Party, PNP, have each entered a full slate of candidates to contest the polls. The ECJ says a total of 4 nominated candidates represent the United Independence Congress, UIC. 36 candidates were nominated to contest the elections in 34 electoral divisions as independent candidates. You should know that each candidate was required to complete and return a nomination form signed by 6 or more qualified voters in the division in which they choose to run. Each candidate was also required to pay 3,000 Jamaican dollars as nomination fee. A candidate will not be eligible to be elected if he or she is under the age of 18, holds a public office, is a member of the Jamaica Defence Force, or has been declared bankrupt. The 2024 local government elections will be the first since 2016. Meanwhile, special service electors are slated to vote on February 22 ahead of the February 26 local government elections. Director of Elections, Glaspel Brown, says this group comprises of members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, the Jamaica Defence Force, and election day workers. Under the Representation of the People Act, provisions are made for these electors to vote 3 days before the rest of the population to ensure that they are available for duty on election day. More than 30,000 persons will be engaged as election day workers, to include presiding officers, poll clerks, supervisors, drivers, logistics coordinators, and handymen. The Planning Institute of Jamaica, PIOJ, launched the Inclusive Growth Index Framework, IGIF, a comprehensive measurement tool for growth, on Thursday. Reports are that the index will provide a more comprehensive understanding of the interrelatedness of key drivers of growth specific to Jamaica.
The framework was developed by the PIOJ's Growth Inducement Program, GIP, and was created to significantly increase Jamaica's ability to achieve the goals and targets outlined in Vision 2030. Director General of the PIOJ, Dr. Wayne Henry, at the launch says it marks a significant milestone in Jamaica's development.
Today's event marks a significant milestone in Jamaica's development as we officially present a powerful new tool that was created to significantly increase Jamaica's ability to achieve the goals and targets outlined in Vision 2030 Jamaica, our National Development Plan, to attain improved economic and social outcomes for all. The many years of collaborative effort that has gone into conceptualizing and developing this tool has been driven by a commitment shared by many stakeholders to expand the traditional economic growth models, recognizing the imperative of inclusive and sustainable development.
He says the IGIF will analyze and provide tailored insights for people's needs.
The IGIF provides a comprehensive basis for measurement, tracking, and in-depth analysis, offering valuable insights for the creation of policy responses and proactive initiatives tailored to our people's diverse needs. Today's event marks a significant milestone in Jamaica's development.
Dr. Henry says the IGIF being tailored to Jamaica's specific situation makes it a powerful tool for decision-making and sustainable development planning.
The 2008 financial crisis and the adoption of the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, in 2015 by the 193 member states of the United Nations underscored the importance of moving beyond gross domestic product, GDP, as a sole indicator of progress. While we acknowledge the existence of global indices, such as the UNDP's Human Development Index, the HDI, the IGIF distinguishes itself by being tailored to Jamaica's specific situation. Furthermore, the IGIF's wider scope and its focus on understanding the interrelatedness of key drivers of growth makes it a powerful tool for informed decision-making and sustainable development planning.
For the news on PBCJ, I'm Danita Rodney.
Justice Minister Delroy Chuck wants more Jamaicans to learn about the benefits of restorative justice. Restorative justice is a system of criminal justice which focuses on the rehabilitation of offenders through reconciliation with victims and the community at large. Minister Chuck says the system has been successful since its inception. He was speaking at the 15th Annual Restorative Justice Conference, which was held at the Spanish Court Hotel in Kingston this week. The conference was one of several activities held in recognition of Restorative Justice Week between February 4 and February 11.
And that is why I'm so happy, Minister Marsha Smith and Mr. Troop, that we have got into this MOU with the Ministry of Education. And you know that it is bearing fruit. But we want to be able to put it in all the schools. And you also want to be able for every child in the school to know about RG.
The event was supported by stakeholders within the system. Minister Chuck tasked the attendants to spread the news about restorative justice with missionary zeal.
Not only in the schools, but in the churches, the communities, the business places, the construction sites. Because Jamaica is plagued with violence. And I'm happy that since the beginning of the year, we have had a 24% reduction in murders.
The Justice Minister says he hopes the downward trend continues, but notes that it depends on each Jamaican.
We can have less murders. And that is why I say RJ and other alternative dispute resolution, if we can get it into the minds and into the culture of our society, of our people and our societies, then we can continue to reduce murders, which we have to do. It is just not right that we can have over 1,000 murders per year. And I hope that 2024, for the first time perhaps in 30 odd years, we can see murders dropping below 1,000. Wouldn't that be great?
Restorative Justice Week is being held under the theme Transformation, Peace and Harmony through Restorative Justice. For more information on restorative justice and Restorative Justice Week activities, contact the Ministry of Justice toll-free at 888-JUSTICE. That's 888-587-8423. Or visit their website at www.moj.gov.jm. Time now for the Business Report with Denise Williams.
Good day, everyone, and thank you for joining us on the Business Report. I'm Denise Williams, your guide through the latest happening in the world of business. Bank of Jamaica Governor Richard Byles anticipates that inflation may exceed the target band of 4% to 6% for a prolonged period in the current year. While core inflation remains moderate, Byles expects a temporary increase in overall prices, driven by local factors such as higher taxi fares and increased costs for agricultural produce. Byles pointed to potential risks to the inflation forecast, including geopolitical events and the impact of climate change on the Panama Canal, which could lead to supply chain challenges and higher shipping costs. He mentioned the wars in Europe and the Middle East, along with falling water levels in the Panama Canal, as factors contributing to these risks. Despite the challenges, Biles did not disclose the future direction of policies, emphasizing that decisions will depend on available data at the time. The next meeting of the Rate-Setting Monetary Policy Committee is scheduled for February 16 and 19, with the release of January inflation data expected to provide further insights into the economic situation. With Cinco Group Limited for the 6 months ended December 31, 2023, reported a 12% increase in revenue, totaling $26.98 billion compared to $24.7 billion in the corresponding period last year. With Cinco highlighted, during the quarter under review, we experienced some incremental expenses, which was anticipated as we hired talent for our expansionary projects. The impact of inflation, along with significant increases in some key categories, specifically general insurance and security, and not getting the expected increased revenue from the capacity constraints, also contributed to the increased expense to sales ratio. As such, net profit for the 6 months amounted to $2.77 billion, a 10% increase from the $2.51 billion reported in 2022. The executive ranks shifted in corporate Jamaica as reported by several companies. Grace Kennedy Limited has advised that Mr. Jason Bailey has been appointed to the position of Head of Risk effective February 1, 2024. Massey Holdings Limited has advised that Mr. E. Gervais Warner, President and Chief Executive Officer, has undertaken to proceed on early retirement from the company and retire from its Board of Directors effective April 6, 2024. Massey has further advised that Mr. David Afonso, Executive Vice President and Executive Chairman, Integrated Retail Portfolio, will replace Mr. Warner as President and Group Chief Executive Officer effective April 6, 2024, while continuing in his current role. Separate Limited has advised that Mr. Ethan Cummins joined the company as Chief Strategy Officer, Human Capital, effective January 1, 2024. Lasco Manufacturing Limited has advised that Dr. David McBean was appointed as an independent director to the Board of Directors on February 6, 2024. In mergers and acquisitions news, Jamaican-based Tropical Battery Company Limited has advised of the acquisition of Rose Electronics Distributing Company based in San Jose, California, USA. The acquisition was completed through Tropical's U.S. subsidiary, Tropical Battery USA, LLC. During trading on February 8, 2024, the top advancing stocks covered the finance and food sectors on the Jamaica Stock Exchange. Sterling Investments Limited US dollar shares advanced by 33.33% for a 1-cent jump to close at 2 cents with 750 shares traded. Lasco Financial Services Limited shares advanced 15.17% for a 27 cents price increase to close at $2.05 with 1,200 shares traded. Everything Fresh Limited shares advanced 13.33% for a 20-cent price increase to close at $1.70 with 12,591 shares traded. On the declining stocks that traders experienced on February 8, 2024, the top 3 losers covered technology, advertising, and insurance sectors. T-Tech Limited declined by 19.6% for a 49-cent price decrease to close at 2 cents with 9,241 shares traded. The Limners and Bards Company declined by 16.67% to trend 26 cents downward to close at $1.30 with 10,454 shares traded. Caribbean Insurance Brokers Limited declined by 12.70% for a 31-cent decrease in price to close at $2.13 with 16,869 shares traded. Trading activity on the first-tier market for the Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange on February 8, 2024 registered a volume of 266,000 shares, crossing the floor of the exchange valued at 1.5 million TT dollars. National Enterprises Limited was the volume leader with 188,000 shares, changing hands for a value of 700,000 TT dollars, followed by First Caribbean International Bank Limited with a volume of 54,350 shares being traded for 381,000 TT dollars. Calypso Macro Index Fund was the only active security on the mutual fund market, posting a volume of 1,000 shares valued at $22,504.72 TT dollars. Moving from the money moves of investors, executives, and companies, we turn to the Forex market. On February 8, 2024, the Bank of Jamaica reported that US $13 million was bought from Forex traders while US $20.8 million was sold to Forex traders. Buying directly from the Bank of Jamaica, foreign currency traders sold the US for $157.74 and bought the US dollar for $155.13. The difference between the buy and sell rate was $2.61, which represents a profit for Forex traders for every US dollar traded. Canadian Forex traders earned a trading profit of $5.36 from transactions with the Bank of Jamaica. The Canadian dollar was sold at $117.39 and bought for $112.03. For traders looking at the British pound, they pocketed a profit of $7.69, selling it for $247 and buying it for $192.78. Our credit report tip of the day is that a positive credit report opens doors to various funding options, from traditional loans to credit cards and lines of credit. Diversifying your funding sources empowers you to choose the options that best align with your goals. Whether you're eyeing an investment property or looking to grow your portfolio, a solid credit report positions you as a favorable candidate for investors. It signals financial stability, attracting potential partners and backers for your ventures. And with that, we wrap up today's business report. I'm Denise Williams. Appreciate your company. Stay well informed. Stay ahead of the curve. Until our next update, take care.
In regional news, the effects of the oil spill reported in Tobago on Wednesday was spread to several beaches on the island, intensifying the Tobago Emergency Management Agency's cleanup efforts. Speaking to the media on Thursday, the THA Chief Secretary called the occurrence a disaster that Tobago was not prepared for.
The oil spill has been elevated to a Tier 2 disaster and may soon move to Tier 3. This according to THA officials and the Tobago Emergency Management Agency.
Tier 3 level means that it's at that juncture we will have to get the requisite international partners to assist. That means it will go beyond just the national scope, given some of the things that we are seeing at the moment and can't readily disclose right now.
The Chief Secretary noted the sargassum seaweed is acting as an absorbent of the oil-like substance and is being stored at a sealed containment in Studley Park. Mr. Augustine also informed that the vessel's lodging has been causing damage to Tobago's reef.
We have seen the ship essentially create a pathway through the reef where the ship dragged itself, where the currents drag the ship through the reefs. So we're seeing that clear pathway. We are seeing where the ship is grinding on the coral reef and destroying parts of the coral reef where it is currently lodged.
Coast Guard divers were prepared to dive on Thursday. However, it was deemed unsafe as a result of the location of the ship's lodging. According to TEMA, it has been identified as Gulf Stream, but its origin is still unknown. Chief Secretary Augustine said plans are underway for the vessel's removal.
Maritime is from out of the Ministry of Works, I believe, to assist us with the big ticket item, and that is the removal of the vessel from where it is currently lodged. It is not our desire to have the vessel there much longer, because we don't want it to be lodged in a way that it's difficult to be moved afterwards, and we will now have to cut it up to remove it.
While some fisherfolk are calling for compensation, Mr. Augustine noted the THA is prioritizing the cleanup efforts. He explained it is anticipated that this will continue well into the Carnival weekend. Carissa Douglas, TTT News.
Healthy habits, healthy schools, healthy Belize. That is the theme for the first Health and Nutrition Expo on Thursday at the Belize Civic Center. The expo was held in order to encourage healthier habits and bring awareness to health concerns threatening the young population.
Today, dozens of students got the opportunity to learn about fostering healthy habits at the first ever Health and Nutrition Expo at the Belize Civic Center. The event was hosted by the Ministry of Health and Wellness in partnership with several NGOs and government agencies, including the Ministry of Education. At the event, students visited booths where representatives educated them on topics such as mental health, nutritional dietary options, skincare, and non-communicable diseases.
We wanted to be able to share with those that are in the program and others as well the impact, the importance of health and nutrition. We're giving out posters, informational flyers, contents. We're also being able to teach some of the students some pointers about health and nutrition today. We have 22 booths. We also invited some of the beverage companies that are selling juices that are natural, for them to also promote their healthy products. So that gives us about 22, and we expect about 500 students varying from preschool, primary and secondary school to join us today.
Minister of Health and Wellness Kevin Bernard spoke on the importance of such an event.
Today, as you know, the Ministry of Health and Wellness have launched the National Nutrition Policy last year. And as part of the commitment and to ensure that we move on with the policy, we have been able to team up with the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Agriculture, in showing our commitment as a government and as ministries that we are committed to ensuring that we can push into Belize, especially in our schools at very young age, the issue of being healthy habits, so we can create healthy schools, and at the end result that we have a healthier Belize. As we have been saying for a long time, we have to address the issues of non-communicable disease that are affecting our society. In my message, I spoke about it briefly. Diabetes, cancer, and all these things that are prevailing in our country, we need to reduce that. And the only way we can do so if our people start to eat healthy, start to build those healthy habits, and it has to start not only from the schools but from home, as Minister Fonseca rightly mentioned. It starts at home, but we must ensure that it is incorporated in the school system, and that's one of the reasons why the Ministry of Education has also adopted the healthy eating habits within the school system. So for us, it's important that we bring together stakeholders from both the non-governmental organization, the government partners, international partners, and the private sector to come together to ensure that we continue to promote this initiative.
Advocates in St. Lucia are pushing for the incorporation of Rastafarianism into the educational framework, emphasizing the importance of respecting diverse faiths in a democratic society.
Robert John Lee, a proponent of this initiative, argues that allowing Rastafarianism in the educational sector aligns with the principles of freedom of choice, a cornerstone of the democratic values. Lee highlights the significant role faith plays in nurturing values and guiding youth development, particularly against the historical backdrop of slavery. Stressing the autonomy of individuals, especially young people, in choosing their faith, Lee asserts that the educational system should provide a space for the exploration and learning for various beliefs. In his view, The Rastafarian faith holds particular importance in St. Lucia's historical tapestry.
I personally also believe we live in a democracy. I believe people have a right to choice. And I believe that people have a right to choose whatever religion they want. So if people want to choose to follow Rastafari faith, hey Selassie, that is their choice. You want to follow Hinduism, Buddhism, Islam, different denominations of Christianity. I believe in choice. It's a free choice.
Ayanola Council former President Aaron Alexander supports this advocacy, underscoring the pivotal role of religion in shaping identity and the pursuit of truth and self-understanding. He suggests that the religious activities and events serve a crucial avenue for self-discovery and enlightenment, especially for young people navigating identity crisis.
Our youth are going through what we consider to be an identity crisis. They don't know who they are. I mean, if it is so important for the American black youth to identify themselves as being African Americans and putting Africa first and learning their roots and culture from an African perspective, why can't we do that here in St. Lucia? I remember before the election, even the current Prime Minister, he spoke about introducing more African history, black history in schools. We are yet to see that happen. It is something that is needed, and the Rastafari community stands ready and able to provide the resource persons to go into the school system and do exactly that, to teach our youth, to respect the sanctity of life.
Highlighting the importance of understanding one's history, the Rastafarian community actively engages in addressing issues of violence and hatred, prioritizing teachings of peace and historical awareness among the youth. As the debate on religious inclusion in education continues, proponents argue that recognizing Rastafarianism will contribute to a more comprehensive understanding of St. Lucia's cultural and historical fabric. Joshua Harrow, NBC Prime.
In sports, we're out the blocks with athletics, with news that Jamaican sprint legend Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce will retire after this year's Paris Olympics. The three-time Olympic gold medalist and 10-time world champion told American magazine Essence that she's forcing herself to retire at age 37 to spend more time with her family. She's quoted saying, "My son needs me," end quote. She furthers, quote, "My husband and I have been together since before I won in 2008. He has sacrificed for me. We are a partnership, a team," end quote. In her interview, she spoke about how she's focusing on her training for one last chance at Olympic glory in France and showing people that one can stop when one decides. Over to cricket, as West Indies lost the first T20 international against Australia by 11 runs on Friday at the Bellevue Oval. The match featured standout performances from David Warner, Tim David, and leg spinner Adam Zampa. However, the pivotal moment in the match came in the 16th over when Zampa's brilliance dismissed Andre Russell and Nicholas Puran, tilting the scales in Australia's favour. And that's it for the Weekend News on PBCJ. Thanks so much for watching.